Happy Friday, frienderinos. Welcome back to another episode of Hot News. We got the latest tech news for you this week. Say goodbye to the crosshawk. You shouldn't see this on Monday. That's the idea. And in case you have no idea what I'm talking about, this is because we raised $43,000 on our 24-hour third annual charity live stream last week. So I'm so ready to be done with this. I hate going outside and not knowing whether or not if I have. Anyways. Let's go ahead and talk about the hot news. That's why you're here. You want the news on the RTX 3070 Ti. Yeah, not the 3070, which everybody's excited about for $500 with better performance than a 2080 Ti, according to Nvidia. But you're wanting the next release, aren't you? The 3070 Ti is apparently being spotted all over the internet with 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 as opposed to the 3070's 8 gigabytes, which is pathetic in 2020. How dare you, Nvidia, only give us 8 gigabytes? We need this 3070 Ti. You can see here that it's being announced with several different units on Lenovo's website. You have the RTX 3070 Ti 16 gig edition right there. You also have it listed over here with different versions of the Lenovo cards. So it's quite neat. They're also listing an RTX 3070 Super, not just the Ti. So we're getting information on that as well. You can see right here, 3070 Super, 8 gigabytes of GDDR6. So we can just compare how the 3070 Ti is supposed to be to the 3070. And really all we know at this point is it's 16 gigabytes versus 8 gigabytes. Will it be any faster? There's room here to go from 6,000 CUDA cores to 8,700. So getting somewhere in the 7.5 region could work for the 3070 Ti. And the general indication would be that this might be a card that Nvidia is holding back until they see what Big Navi is when it is launched, and waiting on AMD to drop that, which my anticipation has always been that Big Navi is going to land somewhere between the 3070 and the 3080, not quite keeping up with the flagship card from Nvidia. And then if they drop it at a price that's cheaper than the 3080, like say $600, well, Nvidia can just come out with the RTX 3070 Ti. However, while all of that seems really good, you get a $600 16 gigabyte card, $550 maybe, who knows? Let's just consider the source here for a second. Lenovo's product pages. You see, you got it on this desktop. You got the 3070 Super on this desktop. It all seems like these cards could be coming out. Or alternatively, it could just be a information page updater who literally has no idea what they're doing and just typing in numbers. Like, it's not that hard to type in a 3 here instead of a 2, because this would be the exact same information. The RTX 2070 Super with 8 gigabytes of GDDR6 is just as valid as a 3070 Super. So that's a potential. And let's not forget what happened with the 11 series. Yes, my friends, the series that never came out. Lenovo confirmed a GTX 1160 on their product page for the Lenovo Y530 laptop, and that never came out. And let's also not forget that they did the exact same with the 1180. Lenovo talking to somebody at E3 saying that it was going to be updated to the 11 series with the 1180 in this PC. Lenovo has constantly been a source of not giving us the proper information. They've called things that aren't quite often, because I'm more than likely going to guess it's just random people who are kind of in the techno, who know kind of what's going on, just updating product pages and not necessarily something that's going to happen. Is it possible that Nvidia is going to launch a 3070 Ti? Yes, a 16 gigabyte version with more CUDA cores that's slightly faster than the 3070 for $100 more. I'd eat that up 100%. Just release that, Nvidia. We want that. But also consider the fact that Lenovo has been not necessarily given the straight answer all of the time. So take that for what it's worth. Let's move on to the next little bit, which is a report coming out of Tweaktown that the RTX 30 series GPUs will be short supplied until next year. This is because they want to profit more by reducing the output from Samsung to make sure that the limited supply can resell at higher rates, apparently, is the idea, and that they're going to make it so that there's hardly any stock available till the end of the year. Is this going to happen? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. It is more than likely possible that since this is the first major consumer GPU launch that we've had on Samsung, it's going to take a while for them to get up to production scale, or maybe they already have it there and Nvidia wasn't confident at releasing this until they could see that Samsung was going to be able to do this. So it could be either way. We'll have to wait and see on that. But the good news is, apparently, according to Microcenter's Twitter page, they're going to have them in stock on release dates. So in case you want to line up at Microcenters around you, you might be able to do that. They're saying that they're going to be new procedures in place to ensure the health and safety of their customers. There are no pre-orders going on, but you can potentially pick them up in stores, which got me thinking, should I take the 5-hour road trip there and 5-hour road trip back to actually go pick one of these up in person and finally see what a Microcenter is like, since the closest one to me is in Atlanta, Georgia, or roughly around Atlanta, Georgia? Would that be worth it? Is that content you guys want to see? Should I drive to Microcenter? Let me know. Or should I just purchase it, on the internet? But while we're getting updates of stock from the RTX 30 series from Microcenter, Nvidia themselves are coming out with new answers on what you can expect out of the cards, with them being over on Reddit and doing essentially an AMA or just Q&As on everything going around with the RTX 30 series. A couple key things that I want to talk about. The HDMI 2.1 can support everything. It can support 12-bit information, 48 gigabits per second, 8K, 60 hertz HDR, all of that good stuff. They're also saying that there's no certain SSD speed requirement for RTX IO, but obviously faster SSDs would benefit more from their RTX IO technology than other ones by reducing the load for that. And then also talking about how they cannot use SSD space as VRAM, which is kind of one of the features that the PS5 is going to have, but you're not going to be able to get that on the RTX 30 series. And then also the PCI Express 3.0 versus 4.0 debate, saying that 3.0 shouldn't bottleneck it. They said that CPU selection often has a larger impact on performance, and that the impact is typically less than a few percent, going from a 16-lane PCI Express 4.0 slot to a 16-lane PCI Express 3.0 slot, which is good news for anybody who wants to do multi-GPU on the RTX 3090, because they're only going to be able to run those in 8 lanes, because there's no motherboard that I'm aware of on the market, consumer-oriented, that has more than 16 lanes of PCI Express 4.0, so you're going to split them. I even looked at TRX 40 and it said it had 16. So no matter how you want to get multi-GPU, you can only have 8 lanes of PCI Express 4.0, which is equivalent to 16 lanes of PCI Express 3.0. Then let's talk about how the 3070 is equivalent to the 2080 Ti, not just in ray tracing, but also traditional rasterization benchmarks, with Nvidia saying we're talking about both. Games that only support traditional rasterizations and games that support RTX, you'll be able to get equivalent or better performance out of the RTX 3070 than the 2080 Ti, according to them. And they also said that there should be no impact on cooling performance on the Founders Edition if you're on an inverted case. Likely there will be if you're on a vertical mounted GPU, but you're always impacting airflow when you're on a vertical mounted GPU. What you don't have to worry about if you got one of these, the EK water blocks for the 30 series getting announced from EK. You can see here the Vector RTX GPU water blocks. It's some good stuff. I am considering picking one of these up. They're not available as of yet, but RTX 3080 water blocks from EK. And then let's talk about Doom Eternal. Got some FPS drops yesterday, was showing how the RTX 3080 performs against the 2080 Ti in Doom Eternal at 4K at highest settings. And I have to say, this is crazy. It's running at like 140, 120 FPS. It is faster than the RTX 2080 Ti. You can see for sure this is running at 2.3 times speed. That's my bad. But the game looks absolutely stellar, and this is one of the first FPS comparisons that we're getting directly from Doom themselves, and the 3080 is looking magnifique. And we could just talk for a second about all you RTX 20 series owners who were considering reselling for the 30 series. You might want to have thought of that before Nvidia made their announcement, which I mentioned quite a few times. But the GPU market getting flooded with used RTX 2080 Ti's. We've seen them going for as low as $400. In fact, we actually checked this out over on our live stream when we watched the Nvidia event. And when we were watching it, there were 149 GPUs listed in the first 3 hours of it going live. And you can see this one here, $550 for an RTX 2080 Ti used in the box. But if you go on places like Hardware Swap over on Reddit, you can see them easily going for around $500 for a 2080 Ti. It looks like a lot of you believed Nvidia at their word, which is quite surprising for you to be able to drop a $1,200 card for that price on hearsay. Honestly, we don't have the official benchmark numbers, but yet everybody's reacting as if this is real, which is quite intriguing to see. Are you holding off on selling your 2080 Ti, hoping that the price might raise back up? Let me know what you're doing with your current 20 series GPU down below in the comments. And then just talking about the 20 series one last time, the 2080 Ti is not done, because extreme overclockers have been able to break the 3 gigahertz barrier on the 2080 Ti. This isn't the first time we've broken 3 gigahertz on a GPU. That was done at a Galax event. I think it was the 1060. They were able to get over 10 gigahertz, but they dropped a video over on Tech Lab showing that they are getting high scores on the liquid nitrogen 2080 Ti. It's the Galax Hall of Fame edition, and that's some fast juice, but based on what we see, it should be easily beaten by a 3080 or 3090 by just kind of normal overclocking it, which is some really, really good information for us. But then let's talk about a product that's also really insane, but not necessarily geared towards gaming enthusiasts. Fujifilm announcing the fast 1.0 aperture lens that is one of the very first with autofocus. This is a huge lens coming in at £2 and costing $1,500. This is remarkable simply because it has that wide aperture at 1.0, but then can also do autofocus, which most wide aperture lenses like this typically don't have that. So Fujifilm coming out with one that's really useful. But then MSI coming out with laptops that are more business oriented, which I actually really like. These are the first Intel Evo certified laptops from MSI, more clean branding. I'm glad to see that they're going this way. They've been doing this ever since their Prestige lineup has come out, and it makes me excited to see that they're doing that with these, continuing that with Tiger Lake CPUs up to an RTX 2060 GPU. Good stuff coming out from that. Let me know what you think of these MSI laptops down below in the comments, and let me know what you think of MSI's new 360 hertz monitor going for $800 with Nvidia's reflex latency analyzer to maximize performance, launching in November. The Oculix. Is that really the name they're going with? The Oculix NXG 253R 360 hertz has the latency, so you can plug the mouse into the monitor and then do the whole thing. We're technically hacking. And no matter which way you hack it, you can't save HTC from themselves, because they've just been having rough year after rough year, rough launch after rough launch, and their CEO of just about 1 year has now resigned. He is stepping back for personal reasons. I can't speculate as to why, but HTC just not in a good place. I don't expect that they're going to have a while left in the game, which is going to be sad, simply because obviously we have Oculus as the VR main headset, but that's going the way of the Facebook. So HTC does need to be there. I hope when they finally do fall, they actually sell off their VR division to somebody. Maybe Valve can purchase it. That would be great, but we'll see if that ever actually ends up happening. But SpaceX Internet is happening. Starlink is announcing connectivity via space lasers instead of having to do it via a ground station and then back up to another satellite. This next gen of SpaceX Starlink satellites can do inter-satellite communication, which SpaceX is saying that with the space lasers, the Starlink satellites were able to transfer hundreds of gigabytes of data. Once the space lasers are fully deployed, Starlink will be one of the fastest options to transmit data all over the world. Space lasers, my friends, it's coming. SpaceX did another hop test with their Starship prototype SN6, doing the 150-meter flight test, which is good because SN5 also did it. So they're having consecutive iterations that are capable of doing the same thing, which is kind of the general idea that you consistently improve on what you have. So SN6, 150-meter hop. You can fly basically anything these days, can't you? And you can fly anything in the face of the consumer as long as you can try to make money during a pandemic. Isn't that right, Disney? Disney announcing that the Disney Plus exclusive Mulan, which is going to set you back $30 in case you want to pick it up today on Premier Access on Disney Plus. So you have to pay the $8 a month plus the $30 outright to get Mulan today. But that $30 premium access thing only gives it to you for 3 months, because Mulan is going to be dropping to all Disney Plus subscribers on December 4th. So exactly 3 months from today, which I guess it's $10 a month to be able to watch Mulan. Is that worth it, or are you just going to wait? Or is anybody even going to care about this movie at all? Let me know down below in the comments what you think about Mulan. Keen to hear from you. And then quickly, just a couple last few things. OnePlus 8T is apparently getting a quiet refresh in October, which is going to bring a 120 hertz display to the phone as opposed to the 90 hertz display that's currently on it. Just a small little upgrade, just increasing it a total of 33%. But let me know if you think you'll wait for the OnePlus 8T to have 120 hertz. And then people were apparently waiting for Microsoft Flight Simulator, because it was announced that it was the largest Game Pass game launch to date, with 1 million unique players playing the game, with 26 million flights, more than 1 billion miles flown, which is incredible. I know that I've enjoyed it. What do you think of Microsoft Flight Simulator? Or are you waiting on the 30 series to even be able to run it? keen to hear from you down below. And I'm keen for you to not hear my voice anymore, because this episode of Hot News is over. We're done. We're through here. You and me, we got through this together. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for tuning in for another week of Hot News. It was a big one. It was a big one with the RTX 30 series. Now we've got Big Navi, Zen 4 still coming out, potentially more RTX 30 series GPUs, obviously the 3060, and all of that is something that people might be more excited for at the $400 price point. So let me know, what's the next piece of tech you're excited for? PS5s, Xbox Series X, we need pricing on that. All right, I'm going to stop belaboring this.